When Ade returned the money, the men who lost it looked at him as if he had made a mistake. The people around them looked at him that way too. Some even laughed. Because in Ade's hand was an envelope thick enough to change a month, maybe a year, maybe a whole life. It had fallen from the back seat of a taxi outside the market. No name. No address. No witness. Just a bundle of cash, tied neatly with a rubber band, sitting there like a quiet invitation. Ade had opened it once. Then closed it again. Then stood still for a long time. He was on his way home from work. His shoes were wearing thin at the heel. His mother's medicine was due. The landlord had already spoken twice. And there, in his hand, was money that could have solved 3 problems before sunset. No one would have known. That was the worst part. No one. But Ade returned it anyway. And nobody understood why. Ade was 32 years old, and he had become very good at being tired. Every morning he woke before the sun, took 2 buses across town, and worked in a small repair shop where people brought radios, fans, and old speakers that no one else wanted to fix. He was good with his hands. Patient. Careful. The kind of man who could make something broken work again with a screwdriver, a little wire, and time. But patience did not pay rent faster. His mother lived with him in a 1-room apartment above a pharmacy. She had a cough that came and went with the weather. Some months were gentle. Some months were not. That week had not been gentle. The landlord had come on Monday. The pharmacy bill was due on Wednesday. And by Friday, Ade had counted his money 3 times and still found it too small. So when the envelope fell from the taxi that afternoon, he looked around first. Then he picked it up. Then he looked inside. And for one long moment, he could not speak. He stood by the roadside while people passed him with their bags and umbrellas and tired faces. The taxi was already gone. The street was loud. Horns. Sellers calling. Motorbikes squeezing through traffic. But inside Ade's head there was only one thought. This money could change everything. He could pay the landlord. He could buy the medicine. He could rest for once without fear. He could stop pretending that next week would be different. He looked at the envelope again. Then he heard his mother's voice in his head, the same voice she used when he was small. Do not let a good thing make you forget who you are. He almost laughed at that. Not because it was funny. Because it was inconvenient. The men who lost the money came back 20 minutes later. He was older. Well-dressed. Breathing hard. Panicked in the way people are when they have just discovered how much a mistake costs. He had gone from taxi stand to taxi stand asking questions. When he saw Ade holding the envelope, he rushed toward him so fast that the people around them stepped back. That's mine, the men said. Ade nodded. Count it, Ade said. The men did. His hands were shaking. Then he looked up, stunned. How did you? Ade cut him off gently. It was in the back seat. The men stared at him for a moment like he was looking at something he had not expected to exist. Then he asked, why didn't you keep it? Ade did not answer immediately. Because the truth was too large to say quickly. He could have told the men about the landlord. About the medicine. About the bills sitting in a drawer at home like a quiet threat. He could have said, because I needed it. But he did not. He only said, it was not mine. The men frowned. That's all. Ade shrugged. That is enough. The men looked confused, almost irritated. As if Ade had just refused to take a shortcut every ordinary person would have taken. And in a way, that was exactly what had happened. What nobody knew was that Ade had once taken money that was not his. Not stolen from a stranger. Not in some great dramatic crime. Just a little lie, years ago, when he was younger and desperate and believed the harm would stay small if the amount stayed small. It did not stay small. The shame of it followed him for years. Not loud. Not always present. Just quiet enough to live with and heavy enough to change him. He had promised himself after the day that he would never again build his life on something that was not his. Even if it was only one envelope. Even if nobody found out. Even if it hurt. That was why his hands had shaken. That was why he stood there so long. Not because the choice was easy. Because it was not. The older man kept staring at him. Then he asked, in a lower voice, "Do you know what was in here?" Ade said no. The man swallowed. "Hospital money. My wife is in the ward across the road. I was meant to pay the bill." Ade felt his stomach turn. Suddenly the envelope was no longer money. It was medicine. It was breath. It was time. It was someone's waiting room. The man rubbed his face and looked away, embarrassed by his own relief. Then he said, "You may have just saved her." Ade did not know what to do with that sentence. He just nodded. And for a moment, neither of them spoke. Later that night, Ade walked home slowly. The road felt longer than usual. The same buses passed him. The same sellers shouted. The same city kept moving. But something in him had changed. He still had no answer for the landlord. He still had no money for the medicine. The problem was still there. But now there was something else too. A kind of peace he did not know how to explain. Not because he had more. Because he had not become less. When he got home, his mother was sitting by the window, coughing softly into a cloth. She looked up at him and saw it immediately. The difference was small. But mothers always see the small things first. "You are late," she said. Ade smiled. Then he sat beside her and told her the story. When he finished, she was quiet for a long time. Then she said, "So you gave it back?" "Yes." She nodded slowly. "And you still have your name?" That sentence stayed in the room long after the light went out. The next morning, something unexpected happened. The man from the hospital came to the repair shop. He had told the doctor what happened. He had told the nurse. He had told anyone who would listen that a poor man in a blue shirt had returned a bundle of money without being forced, without being watched, and without asking for praise. By afternoon, 2 people had come to the shop with broken radios. By evening, one of them had another job for Ade. A week later, that job led to a bigger one. Not magic. Not instant wealth. Just one good decision opening a door that no shortcut could have opened. Ade never forgot that day. Not because he lost money. But because he found out something more valuable. He found out that a man can be poor and still be rich in the one thing that matters when life turns dark. He can still have himself. If this story stayed with you, subscribe to Tales for Thought. And before you sleep tonight, ask yourself one honest question. If nobody would ever know, would you still do the right thing?